Do you ever think to yourself, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing with my life?
Well, we don't either, but we've learned some things along the way that have gotten us a little bit closer to being functioning adults.
Or at least we've learned to fake it well enough.
Welcome to Insert Verb Here, your friendly neighborhood advice podcast by two girls who are just as clueless as you are.
I'm Jordan.
And I'm Haley. And we are Verb.
This is it.
This is it.
This is it.
This is it. Okay, you ready?
Nope.
Let's go. How are we going to start this?
It's our first podcast.
Like, our first podcast. Like, episode 1 of our podcast.
The real deal.
This is crazy.
How are you feeling?
I cannot believe it at all. Like, yeah. It's actually, we finally did it.
It's really surreal.
It's really surreal. Like, thinking about it. Like, people are going to listen to this. Like, people are listening to this right now.
Yeah.
That's wild. Like, that's absolutely crazy.
Well, I hope those listening are doing well.
Yes, I hope you're doing well. It's kind of crazy out there in the world right now.
World 2020.
2020 is
a dumpster fire.
Just with, don't even want to talk about everything that happened. Like, everything about 2020 is just completely against us right now.
So we're here to bring joy into your life.
Yeah, and positivity.
Try to.
At least attempt.
Yeah.
And just like...
And if we don't, you'll have a nice little escape for a little bit.
Yeah.
At least.
Or maybe we can just give you some good, friendly advice.
Good vibes. Good vibes.
We love the vibes. I feel like that's the cringiest thing I've ever said.
We love the vibes.
Love the vibes. Ugh, gross. I hate myself.
So our goal with... Should we put that in here? Our goal and intention with this podcast is to take your questions and concerns and anything you kind of want to talk about or hear us talk about, any advice, and bring it to light and just put our take on it and what we kind of feel about the situation. Doesn't mean that's what you should do.
No, absolutely not.
You shouldn't have to take what we say as law, but just kind of
it's
our
like,
view on it.
We all have different experiences and we all have different point of views coming on the same question. So it's just like, we just want to give you our advice and our kind of perspective on it. Just maybe give you a new opinion or a new, like, something, a new perspective you've never seen before.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, Miss Haley. So what is our first topic we're going to talk about today?
So I guess the first thing I wanted to talk about today was, what would you do if you knew you could never fail?
Ooh, good question.
Right?
My first thing is I would do anything. Like, I would try to fix the homeless problem. Like, I would...
I love how you go to, like, homeless, and I would go to the Olympics. We're at, like, such opposite ends.
I would go, like, help the food shortage or water shortage, and then after that, I would, like, try to do, like, my personal dreams of, like, swimming across the world or, you know, whatever.
Yeah. And I went, like, the first thing I thought was, I'm going to be an Olympic figure skater. Like, all of my spinning out fucking I, Tonya dreams. It's the only...
I never watched that movie.
I didn't either. But
back in the day, Michelle Kwan was my idol.
Yeah.
I loved her. Yeah. I did figure skating for, like, all of 3 months when I was, like, 5.
I've only gone ice skating once in my entire life.
Oh, really?
Only once.
Oh, well, then we really have to work on making this dream
a reality.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I don't even know if I can do it.
Well, if you can't fail, then you can do it.
I can do it. That's it. It's the mindset that you can never fail.
Yes.
It's not like reality.
And
we went so off topic.
What is the harm of failing, though?
I was thinking about that, too. It's like, because when I was thinking about this, I was like, you know, I would go to the Olympics. I would, like, start my own business and, like, things like that. But would it feel satisfying when you actually get there?
Ooh.
Because part of the satisfaction after you achieve your goal is overcoming the quote-unquote failure and the obstacles. So if everything comes easily to you, do you feel that satisfaction afterwards?
Oh, that's so interesting. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah. I know. I was like, from everything that I like know and from what other people say, I feel like it wouldn't.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, also, I'm probably not the best person to ask because the way that I grew up, it was really easy for me and for my family to let me quit when things got hard. If I wasn't good at something, I would just like not do it, and I would only do the things that I'm good at. Now I just, if I'm not good at something, I literally just avoid it at all costs. Would I do more things if I couldn't fail? Or is it something that I need to overcome to feel the satisfaction of like, I used to think I was so bad at this, but now I've overcome all that and I'm actually like,
well, in real life,
yes.
You as Haley, sitting down right now, what is bad about failing?
I guess for me, I'm very hard on myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm I'm my own worst critic. I'm so hard on myself. I put a lot of my personal value in my ability to do things. So if I'm really good at everything I do, then I have a lot of value and see a lot of value in myself. Whereas if I fail a lot, I feel like, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not capable of doing anything. I'm a failure. I'm this, I'm that, and goes to a really negative place.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. That might be something to
look at.
Go to therapy about. I might need to go to a therapist on that one. But I just have such a fear of failure and fear of other people judging me for those failures.
Mm-hmm. And just so it's the judgment's not from, is it from yourself that I suck at this, or is it other people are gonna think I suck, so therefore I do suck? It's
I suck, and then there's a secondary. If I think I suck, then other people probably think I do too.
Got it.
So it's on both ends, not just from me or outward. It's a little bit of both.
Interesting.
Yeah, I guess the secondary one's probably because I'm just a people pleaser, and I just like people to be happy, and I like people to like me, and like, so that's probably where a lot of that comes from, because I don't want other people, like, if people think I'm a failure, that means they think negatively about me, and they don't like me, or they have like these ideas in their minds of who I am that it's not actually who I am. And so I guess that's why I kind of just in general tend to avoid things I'm not good at because of my fear of failure. I don't know. What about you?
I don't know. I don't like not being good at things, but as I'm growing up and getting older, I'm learning to accept that it's a part of life, and to learn and to grow, you have to fail. And as a kid, when I was younger, I was much more like along the lines of you, where like, I don't want to put myself out there to fail because I don't want people to know I can't do something. So I went to school for performing arts, and the thing that got me to audition, because I didn't want to audition, and I talked to my friend about how I wasn't going to go, and she said, why? The worst they could say is no. They say no, you move on. You know what? That's true. And that kind of changed my whole outlook on life. The worst anyone can say is no.
Yeah.
And that's not a personal attack towards you. And if it is a personal attack towards you, you might not want them in your life, kind of, you know? And so they say no, you go, okay, thank you. I tried. That's the most I could do at that time. That's what I could offer. And if you're proud of it at the end of the day, great. Yeah. You move on. So it's just kind of changing your mindset to do that. But that being said, if I knowingly could do anything in the world and not fail, I think I would, I guess, like, quote the greater good kind of stuff. But my ex-boyfriend at one point was like, what you think is good might not be good for other people. Not that I'm saying like we shouldn't fix the lack of water problem, you know, like he was like, well, if you do this and that causes this and that causes that. So it just, now I'm like reluctant to say this is what I want to do because it will have side effects that I wasn't.
What if we say, like, let's not focus on like human kind of focus
What would
issues.
I personally do?
Well, I'm thinking I would fix climate change, because that's something that's easier to see the effects of, like, this will help and this will not, whereas like if it's something more about other people and something that they're kind of going through, it is the question of, is this actually what's good for them? Is what I believe what's actually good for them? So like I feel like if you went from that angle, like helping the greater good, kind of something like that, where it's not so like, I hope I don't screw everything up. Like,
but I guess personally, if I could do anything with my life, like not for like greater good of mankind or humankind, I want to go to space really bad. Astronaut or an actress.
I do not know why.
Dream.
When we first asked this question and you first started talking before you said like world hunger, poverty, and the first thing I thought in my mind was she's going to say she wants to go to space. I don't know why. I don't know how I knew that.
It's such a dream.
But it's like I was like, she's going to say she wants to go to space.
Yeah.
I
100%.
do not know. That was the first thing I thought of. I was like, space.
Astronaut and acting. I like, and moving.
You are going to be
to Hawaii.
The first actress
acting
astronaut. So like when they film the next like Interstellar, you're actually in space.
It's
like
a vlog.
It's a vlog. That's our vlog. That's our next YouTube. That's our YouTube channel.
Done.
Just vlogging astronaut.
You heard it here first, guys. The newest Verb YouTube channel is going to be vlogging from space.
Yep.
By Jordan
Merritt.
Done.
That's it.
Thanks for joining in.
That's where we end.
The thing about going into space, though, is you're going to lose your friends.
Well, because you're not going to see them anymore because you're in space.
Right.
And, like, there's no... I don't think they have phones. Do they?
Well, the space station is...
I know, but I don't think you can
that's how we get phone service?
Yeah, but I don't think you can just, like, text your friend.
Hey, guys, is AT&T, is Sprint still up in space?
Like, dude, yeah.
You got service out here?
It's like, I don't think, because obviously they can communicate with like mission control, but I don't think you can just, they can probably like FaceTime with their family like through the.
They've done interviews of people in space.
That's true.
While they're in space.
But that's probably,
it's
all through mission control to it. But I don't think that they just like have their phones and can just text anyone. Because they also,
so how would you?
They also are like on a job. It's not, even if they're like off the job, they're still on the job.
So how do you deal with losing friends when you're in space?
When you're in
space. When you're still
just
on
in
Earth?
General?
Yeah.
Because I guess...
And, like, growing apart, I guess.
Everyone grows apart.
100%.
And, like, that's the... I don't want to call you out for how old you are, Jordan. But, like, I've been out of school for 3 years now.
Wow.
And I've been out of college for 2 years now, I think. I think it's been 2 years now.
You've been out of high school for 3, and you went straight from high school to college.
But then I only went to college for, like, a year and a half. And then I was like, this ain't for me.
Oh, I see.
So I think it's been, like, a year and a half since I've been out of school. Fall 2018 would have been my last semester at school. And so, like, the thing I've come to realize is, especially once you get out of high school and college, is when you really start growing apart from a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Because, like, and it's something that everyone kind of has to deal with. Because, like, when you were in elementary, middle, high school, you were with these people every day for 12 years. Mm-hmm. And, like, people might have moved away. You might not have had the same classes with them. But because you were also surrounded by so many other people, you didn't always kind of notice that these people who are around you all the time. Because you have, like, your close friends. Then you have your, like, school friends that are just, like, one-off. But it's, like...
That you hang out with at school.
At school.
You're, like... I found, like, my biggest changes of friends were between middle school and high school. Mm-hmm. That switch. Like, freshman year switch. Yeah. And then... high school into college. Mm-hmm. And then since college, I've pretty much kept the same core group of friends. There's been like a couple rogue friends that have left, and but that's just a part of growing up and finding out who you are. And I think, gosh, being like every stage of life, I feel like I'm like, oh, that's the hardest stage of life. That's the hardest stage of life. Yeah. But your 20s, early 20s, are because you go straight from high school, people saying you need to figure your life out. You need to go to college. Then you go to college. It's your first, in most cases, first time on your own. Mm-hmm. And, you're trying to figure out who you are. And you have all this pressure from everyone else saying, what do you want to do with your life? And then you get out of college, whether you finish or not. And then it's just more pressure. And then you're constantly comparing yourself to other people. Yep. Man, I just feel like you go through this whole growth. And sometimes people will grow with you, and sometimes they don't. And I feel like it's okay to lose friends. Yes. If you feel like you are moving towards the person you want to be. Mm-hmm. Well, and then just like losing friends versus just generally growing apart, or like, because I remember when I was in middle school, I had my best friend, did everything together. We started a spy club together. Oh, that's so like cute. We had secret spy names for each other. It was like a whole thing. What was your spy name? Baby Boots. It was terrible. She named it. There was like a ranking system, and I was a baby since I just started. It became my email address for like 8 years. All right, guys, if you want to get in touch with Haley, email Baby Boots. There's a number on there that I didn't say for that reason, so you won't even be able to figure it out.
But we were best friends. We had every single class together. We did everything together for most of our 6th grade and like 7th grade year. And then 8th grade happened and we didn't have any classes together. Mm-hmm. And we just like slowly started to hang out when we were at lunch or before. And so we just slowly started seeing each other less because we didn't have that opportunity to see each other every single day mm-hmm. anymore. I remember feeling like really sad because she suddenly kind of just stopped hanging out with me mm-hmm. and she started hanging out with this other girl. And like they were like saying like they were each other's best friends and all that kind of stuff. And then little 8th grade me I got jealous. For years, I was so upset and so jealous about it. And then like obviously, really, once I got older, like I got over it. It didn't bother me, but it was one of the things like I was thinking back and I was like, I remember how shit I felt in that situation at the time. And then it took me literally like while I was saying all this.
You're having a live realization?
I'm having a live realization that it's like,
wow.
At the time I was upset because I thought it was something about me or something about her or she turned against me or like something, I don't know, dramatic like that. But then like
middle schoolers
do. Thinking about it now, I'm like, we just didn't have the opportunity.
Yeah.
To, especially it's so hard when you're kids too, because it's dependent.
It's hard to accept because when you're a kid, like you don't think growing up you're going to grow apart. Mm-mm. So you think these friends are your friends, and it's so hard to accept that fact.
You never think that you're going to grow apart from people.
No.
There were people who were in my wedding.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been, what?
Almost a year.
It's been about roughly 10 months, and I'm not friends with them anymore.
Yeah.
And not just like 1, like 4.
I remember in college, one of my friends said something along the lines of, well, I don't see what the big deal is. We're not going to be friends later. And we were like best friends. It's not like we were just like acquaintances. We were really best friends. And I was like, what? What do you mean? And she goes, we're just in each other's lives for phases and then we grow apart. And I remember at the time being not, I guess, offended, but not offended on my behalf, just offended on friendship as a whole.
Yeah.
Like, why are you planning the end mm-hmm. of the friendship?
Because like she's right, but you don't know. Like I said, there are people who were in my life 10 months ago in my wedding who I'm not friends with anymore, but my mom and her best friend have been best friends since like middle school. Mm-hmm. And it's been, I don't know how long ago she was in high school.
I think
but like 25, 30 years and they're still best friends.
Yeah, and I think part of it is, yes, when you grow up, you're finding out who you are, and I think you should grow, and there are some people who may not be in your life forever, mm-hmm. but I think if someone really does mean a lot to you and they're not a toxic person to you, mm-hmm. and you can grow together if you're able to, mm-hmm. I think carving out time to make sure that person, that friend knows mm-hmm. that they're still important to you.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking about earlier too. I was like, I was so upset when, she had this other friend where, especially back when you're that young, it's hard mm-hmm. because you don't really have cell phones. Mm-mm. You don't really, like, you're probably doing a lot of extracurriculars. Like, mm-hmm. obviously when you're older, there's other things that are busy, right. But it's easy. I feel like it's almost easier to carve out time for people, even like, or just stay in touch with people.
Yeah.
Because like when you're young, you have to depend on your parents bringing mm-hmm. you everywhere and driving you and just all that kind of stuff. Now, if you really want someone in your life, you can make that time
as an adult.
Yeah, it's like, and like I
take that ownership of the friendship.
Yeah, and like I have a friend who I love to death, but we are on completely different paths. Mm-hmm. And she is traveling the world doing musical theater. Mm-hmm. She's thinking about like moving to New York and mm-hmm. moving to London eventually, and so like we're just like completely opposite sides of the world, literally. But then we still make time to mm-hmm. even if we're busy on like every week, we will make time like every 2 or 3 weeks to call mm-hmm. each other and catch up and talk about mm-hmm. everything for a couple hours.
Yeah, my roommate from school, her name's Catherine, she lives in Canada. I'd say about once every 2 weeks we FaceTime, but we text almost every day, even if it's just like one message, and then mm-hmm. the next person will get back the next day. Like, it's not like we're in constant contact, but we talk almost every day. Like, our last conversation last Friday, we talked from 8 o'clock until 1 a.m.
Wow.
Just on FaceTime. So it is important that if you do care about a friendship, and it is mutual, because mm-hmm. yes. sometimes you're the one who's left behind.
Yes.
Which is really hard when the other person's like, I'm growing, and unfortunately I'm growing mm-hmm. past you.
Yeah. I feel that a lot. Like, personally, I guess I really fall into that state of, like, feeling like people leave me and feeling like they're kind of not even just outgrown me, but just they don't
outgrown,
need,
that's the word.
yeah, like they don't need what I can give them. They kind of just move on without really saying anything or like a
closure.
thing, like closure, I guess. And so I always feel really lonely. And like that's something that I struggle with a lot. So actually that's a really good question. How do you deal with feeling lonely and feeling loneliness?
Actually, I want to get your take on this because I love being alone. I am such an independent loner. Like, I love my friends. I love my friends. I love hanging out with them. But especially now that I live by myself, it is so, I don't like being lonely, but I love being alone. I love being able to watch what I want to watch on TV. I love being able to cook what food I want. I love being able to take my dog on a walk when when either of us want to go. Like, I love being able to do my own thing when I want. I've lived on my own, like without a roommate or anything, for about 2 months now. And I think I've only felt genuine loneliness once. And that's in the middle of quarantine.
Really?
Yeah. And it was like the first Monday of moving in when I was like the first time by myself in the middle of quarantine. And that was like, I just sat on the couch for like 6 hours and just stared out the window. And that was like really the only time I felt lonely. I think I enjoy my alone time too much to the point where it's a problem.
See, I feel lonely like every other day.
Yeah, that's why I want to hear what your opinion on this topic.
It's really funny because I was talking to Zane about this, my husband, recently-ish. I think it might have been in quarantine. Because
quarantine is luckily, like I have already said, I don't really feel loneliness a lot. I feel lonely when events happen. Yeah. But on the general day-to-day,
FOMO lonely?
No, like when things happen, like I guess like monumental life events. Not friends hanging out kind of things, but like big things that will affect your life for the future. That's kind of stuff when I'm like, oh, I wish I could share that with someone. I wish, like, that's the kind of stuff I kind of get lonely on. The normal day-to-day, like, mundaneness of life, I don't really. But anyway, the point was, during quarantine, I feel like if you are what I'm going to call a normal person, where you do feel loneliness, I feel like quarantine just exacerbated that by like 1,000%.
Because my whole childhood, I always thought I was an introvert. I was like, I'm introverted. I like my alone time. I like being alone. I just like going home and being by myself. It's my favorite thing. And then I always thought that. Because I guess around high schoolish, I was like, oh, I'm not fully an introvert, but I'm not fully an extrovert. So I consider myself like an ambivert, like in between. And Zane's such a believer on that doesn't exist. You have to be one or the other, and you're not an introvert. You're not an introvert. I was like, I'm not an extrovert. And I was thinking about it in quarantine. I realized, oh shit, I love being around people. And it made me realize I've been an extrovert this whole time. But when I was younger, I was always with people. And then when I went to college, I was in a program for musical theater. So there were only like 6 of us in my class, in our program. We all lived in the same building. We all went to the same classes together. We all ate together. We went shopping together. We did everything together. So I would always
just thinking about that is like making me go, oh my God.
So I would always feel like I'm an introvert. I want to be home. I want to be alone. But it wasn't that. It's that I just never had alone time. Yes. And I'm an extroverted homebody. Yeah, you're an extroverted homebody. So I love being home, but I love there being like tons of people around me at all times too. So once I got out of college and I didn't have people around me all the time, I didn't always have friends coming over. It was hard. It was really hard because
I will say, even though I love being alone, I love being, my alone time and everything, when doing a show and then when the show ends, I do miss kind of being around people. And then like coming out of school, that was an adjustment period. But I think I just adjust too quickly to being alone. I live with my husband, so I'm never really truly alone anymore. So I'm always kind of with somebody, but we almost feel like the same person, but it's never like, oh, when we're together, I'm not alone. It feels like we are, but we aren't. I would get sad about it because I was always like, I don't have a lot of friends that are also extroverts. All my friends are extreme introverts who just want to be home alone all the time. Our friend, she was my neighbor. You used to also be my neighbor. Yeah. And I lived together. Yeah, until you moved. But after my wedding, we still talked like every day. We still texted every single day. We didn't see each other for 4 months. Yeah. And we lived next door to each other. Yeah. Because she's just such an introvert and just likes her alone time so much. It just never happened. And so I never really And that's funny because Izzy and I live together and we're both extreme introverts and love our alone time. And sometimes it was overwhelming that we were both in the house at the same time. Even though, like, we are in our own rooms, like, not necessarily, like, with each other. We are just...
I mean, that makes sense, because I guess you just don't feel like... If you like your alone time that much, it's like you can't feel like you can relax.
Yeah,
all the, like, 100%. I don't know.
I don't think it is.
I don't think it
That's
is.
coming from me.
I don't... Because it's definitely probably not. Me trying to not be, like, calling you out. Like, that's definitely
it's okay.
not...
I own it. I don't think it's good. I think I need to push myself more to not be alone so much.
I guess I kind of get that too, because sometimes, because like
you
I said,
have to
I love people. Like I said, I will be around people all day.
But
obviously,
you have to, like, challenge yourself to, like, even go to the store by yourself.
Yeah.
You don't like being by yourself.
I like being by myself when I'm at home, but when I need it. Okay. I don't like when I'm out. I like there to be people around me. If I'm home, I like there to be people over. Like, I love when people just come over and we play Jackbox or we watch
so much fun.
So much fun.
So I think I need to get better at not being alone. I mean, yeah, I need to get better at not being alone, and you need to get better. We need to
switch.
Yeah, we need to meet in the middle.
The other thing that you have to deal with after college, after, like, losing friends, is figuring out how to find new friends.
Yes.
Which, like, because that's my problem, is, like, all my old friends moved away, or they are just
starting their own life,
or, like, we're just all at different stages of life. Like, some of them, if they're not in school, they're working all the time, or some of them who just had kids,
hard.
And, like, I'm not there yet, and it's really hard to find friends after you're out of college. And so Zane's always like, you need to try something, you need to go take a cooking class, you know,
they have those dating apps where you can, like, turn it on to the friend section where you only get friends.
I'm just scared I'm gonna get murdered.
I know, me too.
So I can't do that.
Me too.
Like, I'm so scared I'm just gonna, like, be kidnapped.
Yeah.
But Zane's always like, you need to take a cooking class, go join, like, a roller derby team, which I will not do.
But your ice skating, figure skater dreams could come true via derby.
We bought roller skates because of TikTok. All the TikTok roller skaters, and we are so bad.
Really?
Zane and I will do it in the parking lot. We're we're not the worst. You want to know how clumsy I am? I'm the only person in the world that could do this. I was making a bowl of pretzels. Okay, just
making a bowl.
I had a bowl and I was putting pretzels in the bowl to eat for a snack. Okay, and one fell out of the bowl and hit me on my toe. And it hurt so bad that I cried.
Is that a clumsiness or is that pain tolerance?
Both. Like, I'm the only person who can hurt myself with a pretzel. So I'm gonna, like, break my whole body if I do roller derby. But, you know, he's always like, go out and do things. And I'm like, but I don't want to do it alone. I want someone to come out and do it with me. Yeah. Like, I want another friend to come with me.
Try roller derby with you.
I'm not doing roller derby. I'm, like, adamantly against roller derby. No. Like, no.
Baby Boots does not want to do rollerblading.
Nope. I told you, I was a spy, not a roller skater. I was like, how do I deal with feeling lonely? But I just cry. I cry and I complain to Zane about wishing I had more friends, because I just don't. I don't have a lot of extroverted friends, and I also don't have a lot of friends that like doing the things that I do. Like, we're also so vastly different in our interests that it's hard.
That's true.
If I want to go do one specific kind of thing, they probably don't want to either. Yeah. I have a lot of friends, like, personality-wise, but I don't have a lot of friends interest-wise. So if you're feeling lonely...
Hit Baby Boots up.
No. Figure out why you're feeling lonely, because there could be a lot of reasons behind it. Because I know the other thing I also do is I will have just hung out with people the day before, and the next day I'll be so sad and feel so lonely, and I'm like, nobody likes me. Aww. Nobody's talking to me today, which means they don't like me. And then I
used to have those thoughts when it was more of a go, like, pre-quarantine, like, especially in college, because I was always doing something. I would wake up, have classes in the morning until noon, go to work from noon to 5, and then have rehearsal from 5:30 to whenever rehearsal got out. And then normally would go out to eat with that like Taco Cabana or something after. So it was just always doing something. So I remember those moments of having nothing to do. You're like, oh God, no one really likes me. Hanging out with me because we just happen to be there. But now that I'm removed from that kind of go, I need to get better at not being okay with being lonely, but
just
trying harder, I guess, to see people.
Yeah.
Because if someone comes up to me...
From my perspective, I feel like you see people all the time.
That's true. If people offered, like, hey, do you want to go out? Like, I'll say, yeah, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But I also, like... Because I also reach out to people to hang out. Mm-hmm. But I don't... When I feel lonely, I don't know. I also have a terrible memory, so maybe I'm just blocking out the times I feel lonely. But I do. The biggest things of when I feel lonely, when life events are happening, and I feel like I don't have anyone to share it with. Because I don't want to bother my friends. Like,
that's my problem too. I don't want to
burden them.
Well, and that's like I said with like we live next door, but I know how much she likes her alone time, so I don't want to bother her with me just wanting to hang out all the time and talk all the time because I'm clingy in all aspects of my life. Just now realizing this as I'm saying it out loud.
How many revelations have you had today?
Like 8. But it's like I know how introverted she is. I don't want to bother her.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like I have.
But as an introvert, I love when my friends come to me.
Really?
Yeah. I would much rather them come to me about something that's on their mind, whether I can help them or not, than them bottle it up.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I'm the queen of
bottling it up.
Because I don't want to bother anyone else.
Yeah.
But no, I think if your worry is about you're feeling lonely and you don't want to approach someone about it, they hopefully won't feel that way. And if they do feel that way, you don't want them in your life. Because I guess you, like, it's the same thing. Like, if you are dating someone and you need certain things out of the relationship and they need certain things out of the relationship and they can't give you what you need, as much as you love them to death, it's just not going to work out. Like, you're going... and the same rule should apply to friendship.
Yeah. Which usually doesn't. Most people don't think of it that way.
No.
Like, most people think of friendships like in such a different
Any sort of
manner.
ship.
Any ship. Relationship.
Friendship.
Mentorship.
Boat ship.
Who says boat ship?
Cruise ship.
Cruise ship.
There you go.
I love cruise ships.
All right, guys, we're going to log off because I'm going to go on a cruise.
We're going to go on a
baby
cruise.
Boots right now.
Yeah. Once we are cruises actually, like, going right now?
I don't think so, actually.
Probably not.
Because of all the, like, remember at the beginning, like back in March?
Yeah.
Lots of people were stuck on cruise ships.
Yeah.
I bet that whole industry's taken a hit.
Every industry is taking a hit.
Okay, so how should someone deal with being lonely?
So I guess figuring out the cause, because like I said earlier, like I fall into the trap of feeling like I'm lonely and people don't like me. When I just hung out with them yesterday, I'm in my head. So figuring out if it's like I actually am feeling lonely or I'm just bored. And kind of figuring out the difference between that, and then using that to kind of help yourself. Because if you're just feeling bored, then like find something to do, find something to fill your time. But if you're legitimately feeling lonely, then reach out to your friends to hang out, or text somebody that you haven't talked to in a while, or like
they would. I'm sure.
Yeah,
they would love to hear from you. Like,
absolutely,
like in general.
Yeah. So like I guess it's just figuring out why. And then using that to help yourself. Either hang out with people, making sure you're not bored, or finding new activities to make more friends.
Or take that time and look at yourself and do some self-growth. Yeah.
That's my favorite thing to do. I love self-growth.
Well, guys, that was our first episode.
That's crazy. Like,
of this Verbcast.
I can't believe. Like, I'm like so like...
I cannot believe.
It's wild that we're actually doing this.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I hope you guys enjoyed it.
I did too. Like, I hope we maybe said something useful.
Yeah. The plan is to have an episode out every Monday as of right now. So we're going to go figure out when we can go back on a cruise when it's safe.
In 2035.
Because
girl
loves the sun, girl loves water.
I love cruises. They are so fun, and they have all-you-can-eat buffets. Which, like...
Done.
I went to the ice cream machine like 8 times a day. No joke. It's so good.
All right, so let's go.
Hopefully we will see you every Monday.
Make sure you check us out on social media at verb.go and send us your questions at askivhpod@gmail.com.
We post new podcast episodes every Monday, so subscribe to Insert Verb Here so you can insert verb into your daily routine.